Hey everyone, welcome to another recap chat. We're talking this time 90 Day Fiance. 90 Day Fiance is a reality show that follows couples, one from the US, the other from another country. We see how they navigate long distances, cultural barriers, language boundaries, and the whole process of marriage and getting married in another country, getting that K1 visa. All of that is 90 Day Fiance, and this is the original. All right, let's get into these couples, starting with Mina and Mark. So they wake up together with the baby in the bed, and Mark is so excited. He keeps kissing her up. He keeps saying, "So glad you're here, baby." Is it me? Because you guys bash me. Not you guys, but I made a comment about Aaron Pierre and Will Smith looking alike, and I got bashed really hard for this. But why do I see Rihanna and Mina? Please don't get me if you guys disagree. Just be like, nah. But I see a little Rihanna. But anyway, maybe that's why he's so excited and happy to have her as well. She talks to her son Clayton on FaceTime, and he just seems so sweet. I love their accents. But it's kind of sad the way Clayton feels about the situation. He's asking about his passport was taking so long. And I think Mark tries to explain that scenario. Not sure if I fully get it myself. But after they hang up, Mina starts to cry for her son. And these are kind of the tears that I wanted to see, because I felt like I didn't feel as much emotion as I wanted to feel. But I'm feeling more when it comes to her having to leave her son back in her country. And Mark is trying to explain to her, you can't leave and come back because that'll mess up the process. And she's like, well, I can't marry you without my son being here. So this is kind of a big deal. I don't know how this part is going to play out for them. So in the morning, well, it is still the morning because they just woke up together. So she cooks. They don't have a high chair for the baby, so she's trying to figure out where the baby's gonna sit. And there's other supplies, diapers, like a number of things that are missing. They drive to go get supplies, and he talks about the bears. He's like, I saw a bear over there, and she's like, oh no, not the bears. Hopefully the bears don't have us for dinner. But he's like, the bears are friendly. She's like, no. She knows when he's joking and messing around with her. As far as, I think he did some type of joke about the plane having a parachute and all of this, whatever. Nobody wants to deal with that. Anyway, I agree with her with this. They go shopping. They're like, she's like, where's the grocery store? Because they're shopping in like the gas station convenience store. And he has the nerve to ask the lady, do you guys have lamb chops? Are you serious? You know they don't have lamb chops. The lady that works at the gas station convenience store. I mean, it's a decent sized convenience store, but no. I think they get, well, I'll tell you what they got later, but I'm laughing. This is crazy. She's like, did you guys have mushrooms? And I understand her asking because she's never been there. She's in a new country. But daddy's pretty messy old daddy here. I know he's got some years on her. And his child could probably be his grandchild, but you gotta do better, dad/granddad. So I think they're driving, and it's called Massachusetts. She said there's a city, Massachusetts, but she says something else. She says something crazy sounding, and it was funny because I didn't know what she was saying, and Mark didn't know what she was saying. And we finally figured out she was saying Massachusetts. And did she say it was sexy? She thinks the name is sexy. I don't know. If I misread that or misheard that, guys, let me know. So now they're at the furniture store trying to get a high chair for the baby so she can eat. And it's just the store has like a bunch of bear themed things on it. It's like furniture that looks like an old cabin or something. I mean, it was nice, but is it for a family with kids? So he's asking the guy, do you guys have high chairs? He's like, no, we really don't have those type of things. But if you see anything, let me know. So she's upset saying, The big city, we wouldn't have to worry about this. The big city versus the small town that he's in. And I'm like, okay, you do have a small town. Everything's not right where you need it. So you might have to take a trip an hour or two to get out of town. Why does he not do that? To me, that doesn't make any sense. Um, I'm not liking the scenario. So it's the evening now, and they're eating gas station pasta and wine. The baby's getting a little upset, though the baby was able to get him some toys, and I think he tried to excite the baby with toys, but the baby was still upset. So he takes the baby in the house for sleep, lets her get rest, and they meet back up in the hot tub. He's wearing some type of shirt in the hot tub. I mean, he's wearing like a short sleeve shirt. I could even see him possibly wearing a wife beater, but he's like wearing a short sleeve shirt, which I thought was weird, but hey, maybe he just has too much of a dad bod to share with us. So he's kissing her. He's like, well, hope you enjoy the atmosphere here. It's calm and all of that. Then he starts talking about the family. You know, I hope you can come see the family. I can't wait for you to see them. He talks about his daughter, Jordan. And she feels like it's like a competition between them. And he tells her that Jordan was concerned that she may be wanting to just come to America. And that she needs to kind of try to get along with her. So she gets really upset and says, well, she's your daughter and she needs to stay in her place as a daughter. She doesn't need to get in our relationship. Oh, yes. And she mentioned that she doesn't think they should have a second child. So she's really upset about that situation. Honestly, I agree that I don't think they need to have a second child. But again, that's their relationship. And I think Mark made the mistake of giving too much TMI. Maybe that information was for him to know and to, do his own little investigation and not to say, hey, my daughter is suspect of you. Maybe you could have just talked to her and kind of seen what her motives were in a way that is a little less assuming. So now she's says the daughter's a snake. She jumps out of the hot tub and is like, I'm going to bed and you don't come to bed tonight. And I know that we saw some of those previews before, and I do watch Pillow Talk at times, and I think somebody was like, hey, how are you going to tell me not to come to my own bed in my own house? I'm sorry, I get it. When it comes to you, Mina and Mark, I know people were thinking gold digger vibes, and I'm not saying that that's not still a possibility or element, but Mark totally failed in this scenario. He's like, well, she's not used to it here, and all of this, and he's not really making it even better for her. Like when she first came, she was, she sees the picture of his ex-wife with the family still up, and I mean, maybe you could get over that, but then you don't have any supplies for the baby, not even diapers. Like, it just seems like he's thoughtless. And then when they go to pick up things, he goes to places in town that don't have any of the amenities they need. He's just not making this setup very well. He's living like a bachelor. I guess he goes to the convenience store and gets gas station pasta all the time, and he doesn't see a problem with it. But he has to see that that's not going to work with a baby. And she even says, when they were eating that gas station pasta and the baby gets upset, she's like, me and my baby, we're used to French food. I guess she's trying to say we're used to the finer things in life, and we can't just be doing this gas station type of meals. So at first, I was kind of thinking she was a little bit too much. She was a little bit demanding and a little bit diva. And I can't even say that that's not true, but she has some reasonable concerns about his attitude. He's going to have to get out of that bachelor mindset and get into, I'm daddy again mindset. So hopefully that will come to pass. Hopefully that can be done. But it's not just a her problem. It's a him problem. It's them having to figure things out and work things out and get on the same page. And he has to step up and be a dad and not a granddad. I think a granddad would be even more accommodating or better accommodating than he is. You know people are coming to live with you forever, and you barely have any accommodations, acting as if you're still a bachelor. Um, I'm not feeling it. And then when he tries to rectify things, he doesn't do very well by going to stores that don't have any of the things they need. Um, I wouldn't be happy either. All right, let's go to Amani and Matt. And it starts out with Amani playing with her daughters. They have this little fake nail salon, and the little girl's like, "Well, how much are we gonna pay? How much do I pay?" She's like, $10. She's like, "Well, can I pay you in kisses?" And she's like, "No, I want that $10." So good business sense to the little daughter. So Amani and Matt, they're going to Mexico for 2 weeks to meet with their third person of their throuple situation. And Amani's like, it's hard to date and leave your kids, and they have 3 kids. I think maybe 2 just live with them, but maybe they just show 2. I don't know if they don't want to show the third one. I'm not sure. But they're like, oh, we really want this. We imagine having a throuple family and lifestyle. But she's crying for her kids because she's not going to be able to see them for, 2 weeks. And she said, why can't we just be like normal parents? Then she starts asking Matt, what are the boundaries and rules of this throuple situation that we have? And then she reveals that she's a jealous and possessive person. So what if this new lady that comes into their life, who is in their life, who they supposedly love, what if she steals her husband because she may be a better woman than her? So it's like all these crazy concerns that she should have thought of probably before they got into this weird throuple situation in the first place. These aren't crazy concerns. These are all like natural concerns of why most people don't live this lifestyle anyway. So it's funny that she's thinking about it right before they're supposed to be doing this big thing. The craziest thing I've heard, divorce so they can get her into the country, and I don't think you can do a throuple marriage. I don't think any place in the world allows throuple marriages. Um, it would just probably only be symbolic. It's kind of like polygamy or polyamory. In some states, I think, I'm not sure if some states recognize it or not. Guys, let me know. Email me at cbiztv@yahoo.com, but let cbiztv@yahoo.com again. But yeah, whatever they're doing is a lot, and then they're trying to make it official, and I don't know if they're even trying to make it fully legal, but I know that they're going to have to uh, completely disrupt their family, break their family up legally with a divorce to bring this person in. Is it worth it? So they arrive in her country, but then we go to, is her name Ahi? I think I'm saying her name right. The way I wrote this, I don't know. But turns out she's a stripper in Tijuana. And she talks to one of her friends, is also a stripper, tells her about the throuple life they're gonna have. And I guess the reaction of the person is probably not that huge of a crazy reaction, because I mean they probably kind of live in a stripper lifestyle. It's a little bit different anyway. So she says her schedule is 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. She's pretty tired. She actually has 3 kids, but her daughter actually lives with her. So I don't know what's up with the other kids, but they weren't there. But she was spending time with her daughter. I thought it was really sweet. And she looks like she's a good mom, doing timetables with her. And the daughter was getting the answers right. And I thought that was really nice. But does her daughter know what she does for a living? I hope she doesn't. She shares her story, which is heartfelt and emotional, that she got pregnant at 16. And she just ended up having to strip because there was no way to make money for herself. And she said basically women may have to do these things because there's not really opportunities out here for us. And if you're a mom, you have to do what needs to be done. And her story, I've heard this story before, and I still, my heart still goes out for her and her situation. She says she met the two, Amani and Matt, while she was doing her strip club thing, and she said he's a 10, they're both beautiful, and she's a 1,000. She's excited but nervous. I'm just curious as to what does she lean toward with her sexuality. I'm not really sure if those numbers indicated it, or she's just trying to be nice for the lady. I don't know. Because maybe she wants her to feel, don't not feel insecure in this strange thing of her being the second woman. Okay, I'm just coming up with some stuff, guys. I don't know. She's excited, but she's nervous. She's never experienced this lifestyle before. So she's a newbie too. They're all new to this strange lifestyle. They're walking in acting as if they've done this before, and maybe they did on some level, but we see Amani's already insecure as the wife, and now I think her name is Ahi. Guys, sorry about the name issue. I'll probably correct it or put it on the screen or something. And she's also like unsure because she's never did this before. So I'm glad that she's not an expert at this. I'm kind of glad because I feel like she may have the potential to win her Amani's husband's heart completely if she was like an expert in this lifestyle, but she doesn't know what she's doing either. In a way, it's kind of bad that none of them know what they're doing, but they're trying to jump in so deeply. To me, it really doesn't make any sense. And the love that they supposedly have for each other, I don't feel like, even though they're saying it's all deep and stuff, I'm not feeling the deepness or that connection. I'm just not. And I guess we'll see as time goes on during the season, how deep is their love really and how far are they really willing to go. For me, how far they've gone is already too far. You guys have a family and everything. She even has kids of her own. So are they just going to mix and blend their families with the kids? It sounds like that's the type of dream they have. So this is going to be different. Greg and Joan. Now Joan is coming, I believe, from Ghana. Greg is getting the food prepped and ready for her arrival. Mom's talking about the separate rooms thing again. He doesn't want to hear it at the moment. He's trying to go get his woman from the airport. And the mom's like, well, I also don't really want to hear you guys do what you do as a couple. I don't want to overhear that. I'm not used to you having a woman in your bed. And she's trying to bring the food with him, but he's not even putting the food in packages. So mom has to help him with that. Some of the little things that most people would know, I'm like, why does he not know this? And maybe because mom's always, had supplemented for him. In a way, she may have done him a disservice. But we'll see more of what he needs his mom's help to do in the future. She's saying in the confessional, I hope they want me around. I don't want to be a third wheel in this situation. He's like, well, I'm going to hold up this loaf of bread with her name on it instead of a sign. It's like, okay, can she even read that? It's a loaf of bread. I could see it if you get a close-up shot, but it just looks like guy holding some bread if you're from standing far away. But I know she's gonna know who it is anyway. She'll know by his face. They have a warm welcome, hugs, and many cute little kisses they're having. She's cute. She looks professional, very clean cut. She seems a little shy, or should I say demure. But she speaks her mind and what she feels, what she wants and likes. And we'll see that as this session goes on during this episode. But they're very kissy. Kiss, 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 kiss. And she's initiating some of these kisses as well. So I'm like, the chemistry is high. I see actually she's initiating a lot of the kisses. So I really feel like she really digs him. On his end, he's worrying he's not enough. As they're driving, she's like, you have trees. I didn't even know you guys had trees. And I thought that was kind of funny. Then he talks about the mom. He's like, the mom doesn't want me. Mom basically is like asking him, could we do separate rooms? And she's like, no separate rooms. I'm sad. She's like, she didn't say it that way, but she's like sad that this is an issue. She doesn't want to be in separate rooms from him. And he gives her that food that he made, and she's not really a big fan. She said the fries are kind of salty. Um, she does the cross sign, like the Catholic cross sign before she eats. I don't know if that's something that she's leery of the food or what that meant, but she was not like a huge fan of the food. And no, for me, when I'm dating someone, especially new, now I know that they're almost married, they have like 90 days to get married. I'm like, oh, the food's okay. I'm playing it off. I'm not gonna, like, she's just straight up honest. Like, I love her honesty. She seems very kind, shy, clean cut, but honestly, I love that she just speaks her mind. I was a little surprised that how she felt about the living situation was the sleeping in the same bedroom. And they're not exactly married yet, so I don't know what her religious status or system is, and I don't know how things go in her country, but I guess she doesn't have traditional thoughts about that. Because coming from my perspective, I am Christian, but I think people that even aren't Christian would have the consideration, okay, mom probably doesn't like me sleeping, wouldn't like me sleeping with um, their kid under their roof, like all the time, because this is gonna be a new living situation. Now I see if it's like one or two nights where she's staying over and she doesn't like it, but they're gonna be there for the undetermined future. So I understand mom's concerns, but she's really kind of upset that the mom is kind of insinuating herself in their relationship. She said, I wouldn't even come here if I would have knew what the room situation was going to be. And again, that really surprises me. That would not stop me from trying to be with my person, sleeping in the same room. It depends, because I'm like, is sex on her top list, or intimacy in her top 10 or top 2 or 3 things she needs in a relationship to prove that there's love there? I don't know, because I can wait, especially if it's only a 90-day process. It seems like they've slept together before. If things have to be a little different for the next 3 months so that they could get acclimated, I would understand, but I don't think a good conversation has been had. Maybe explanations have not been made. And if she knew the mom's perspective and her side, and then from her own mouth, then maybe she would be more understanding. But I think hearing it from him secondhand, I think she feels like it may be a dig against her, and the moms are not already liking her from the get. But I don't think it's her. It's just her rules. I think if any woman came in and did that, she would still want the same thing. So, mom hugs her, and, she does seem a little bit standoffish, but I mean, come on, you're new here in this country. She's tired and all of this. So mom's like, and she does give her a nice hug. They give each other a nice hug, but she says she's nice and thin, but not for long. Excuse me. And, she says she's shy and a little bit too clingy on her son. She is quite clingy. Maybe she just has that vibe, but maybe he's into it. I don't know. So he shows her the room. It's a 2017 calendar. She's like, why is that up there? It's like, I like the dogs on there. That's probably the only reason. So he shows her I think the closet. She's like, this isn't organized. So the dog jumps on her. She already didn't like the dog from get. Then when they go upstairs, the dog's like jumps on the bed. She's like, no, that dog needs to get off the bed. Dogs, for me, in my country, dogs are outside only. So then when he leans over to give her a kiss while she's sitting on the bed, the dog kind of jumps up and I think licks them in the mouth. And she's really disgusted by that. I thought it was hilarious. I'm one of those people too that I do not like dog licks in my face. I do, growing up having dogs in my home, sometimes they can get on the furniture, depending on what the furniture is, and maybe they'll have a designated piece of furniture that they can get on, but they can't just jump on anything. Definitely can't get on the table and all that. That's way too much. To me, the dog was just jumping on was on the couch. You know, if you really close with your dogs, they might get in the bed with you. That was not my situation. I never. Now that's one place the dogs were never in my bed, but they were like in the living space. They might jump on the couch sometimes. It would have been okay depending, but like on the good furniture, no. So I totally get Joan on that scenario, but if you live with people that are dog lovers, everybody has a different way for their dogs, and she's like the dogs are basically outside when it comes to her culture. So she's kind of not feeling great about following the mom's rules, because she just doesn't want to be under somebody else's rule, which makes a lot of sense. So she goes to take a shower. He goes back and talks to moms, and he's telling her, she's afraid of the dark, and I was like, real, which was kind of surprising to me. But then he was saying, well, sometimes the power goes out there, so I understand her reasons for being afraid of the dark in certain scenarios in her country, but he's just trying to give reasons for why she needs to stay in the same room with him. And then he's still trying to respect his mom at the same time. It's kind of a fine line. He's like, well, we'll keep the door open and all this. So he's trying to play both sides. I think he's trying to respect both sides. I don't think he's trying to play anyone, but he's definitely going to be the person in the middle for the time being until these two can like figure out how to navigate, and if they do. So he starts crying because the way she's feeling about the situation. His boo. And I think that the mom says something about hopefully they're on the same page and they both care about each other on the same level, because that's really the only way that this is going to work. So I think she's suspecting or just thinking in her mind that she's in it for some other reasonings. But their physical chemistry to me looks like they really care about each other. Most of the time, people aren't that touchy-feely if they don't have some type of connection with that person. So I feel like they have something. Is it based on the right thing? Is it love? It may not be, but it's a connection that I think that they both have feelings and care about each other. All right, so I have the words compromise and respect written here. And I think that that's probably a concern for the mom, and that's what she wants. And I believe that should be the case. I believe they need to sit down and talk about the living situation, the arrangements, how they want to do things. All three of them. Don't be the middleman. Just like when it comes to Mark and Mina, he's the middleman between himself and the daughter and Mina. And that's why Mina really feels like she's a snake, because she's like, why don't you just directly talk to me? You're smiling in my face, taking pictures with me, and you're really talking stuff behind my back. So I totally get where Mina's coming from. But back to Greg and Joan, this is kind of where the story ends for this moment in this time. Living with moms and the whole scenario situation. Greg's in the middle. How are they going to work this out? All right, next is Stevie and Maddie. Feel the freedom. Whenever I see Maddie, that's all I hear him talking about, feeling the freedom. I don't know, Maddie looks really depressed. Even like they spent the night together, he didn't really look that happy. Maybe he's still homesick. They wake up together. They were talking about their experience being intimate together, and she's like, well, this was just as good as the first time. And he was like, I feel this was actually better because I feel more relaxed and professional. I'm sorry, are you supposed to be professional in intimate situations? Sounds kind of strange, but maybe he doesn't have much experience due to the fact I do know, like, I believe in the religious belief that he comes from his country. They're very conservative and traditional, and he probably shouldn't be sleeping with anyone anyway. honestly, before marriage. That's kind of what I know from the show and kind of what I've heard. But maybe we'll find out more about that later. But now he feels like a professional. Anyway, again, they talk about the doubts that he had and about him wanting to go home and being homesick. He talks about his family like every 5 seconds. But he says, he tells her that she's the most important thing to him, and he kind of regrets talking about that, and for her really not to worry about that scenario. But he wasn't really talking about that earlier, but maybe because they spent the night together, that's opened his heart a little bit more. Doesn't that always open their hearts a little more? Then she says, I feel kind of guilty because, I knew that this could be an issue for him, and I was just trying to make sure that he was sure about coming and leaving his family and everything behind. And she's like, well, it's going to be a lot on me to fill that void or try to fill the void that his family feels. So, yeah, that is going to be a lot. They go out in the town in New Orleans, the singing and all the street shows. And, he loves beignets. And he's like, well, he says that these taste so good. If all American food tastes like this, I'm definitely going to be gaining weight. I thought that was funny. He said, hey, I want to send this to my family. Again, he's talking about his family. He's saying, in my country, there's no singing or dancing. There's a dog walking on the leash. He's like, there's no dogs on leashes. And she's like, well, where do the dogs go? They stay at home. He's like, so in Iran, it's very different. It's like every other thing he sees, he's like, I can't do this in my country. So he definitely continues to say he feels the freedom. I'm glad he feels the freedom, but I don't really know what to make of him at this moment because he's feeling a lot of freedom. I feel like he's excited on one level, he's nervous on the other. Should he feel this much freedom? They walk by this shop with some mannequins that are barely dressed. I believe one is wearing pasties. They also talk about the Mardi Gras and how people are kind of show their bodies during the Mardi Gras. I don't know if they're going to participate in that or not, but I feel like I wouldn't want to bring my man around that. I've not participated in those type of things. I consider myself as a Christian. I'm very, I'll say, demure, and that's just not my style or my lifestyle. So I definitely wouldn't want to bring my man that just came to this country and expose him to all of this intimate type of things, because he might get a little too excited with someone else. Just saying, it's a possibility. So finally, with Sarper and Shekinah, they're at the pool with the family. He takes his little niece to the pool, and Shekinah talks and shares, they go swimming. They're already at the pool, but the niece and Sarper go swimming. And Shekinah talks with his sister / cousin. I think I'm right that that's his cousin. They keep saying that's his sister, but I think she acts as his sister because he doesn't really have any siblings. So they're poolside talking, and Shekinah's like, I feel guilty of taking him from you guys. And I know you guys have a small family. I hope you guys don't resent me and all of that. And she's saying, well, if her and Sarper fight, then, he can go stay with one of her friends. So for the cousin / sister, it's like alarm bells for her, because she's like, why is there an option for him to be sent somewhere else if they have a fight, And she makes it sound as if her house is her house and he's just visiting when they're supposed to be their home together. So she's not happy with some of the phrasing and the talking and the language that Shekinah is putting out there. And she's asking her, are you ready for the side of Sarper where he doesn't have, when he's not in control, how he acts up and reacts? So she's like, well, I guess she's experienced some of it, so maybe she's not ready. So they leave and go back to Istanbul. It's a sad trip. They're hugging and everything. It's like, well, I hope we're gonna miss you, and I'm really sad we're leaving. She asks, how do you feel, Sarper, as they're driving back? And he's like, I'm confused. I know he's gonna miss his family. And she's like, well, for me, I think you're being overly dramatic. You're a grown man. You're too attached to the hip by your parents. And he's like, well, you're taking it the wrong way. Yes, our culture is different. I'm not a mama's boy. In Turkey, we just have a different connection with family. We have a different culture here. And he does the confessional, letting us know that Shekinah's family is not very supportive, so that's why she doesn't get their close-knit connection. To me, Shekinah's really reading cold right now. So they're back at his apartment, and he's like, I'm going to have to leave this place. I've been in this apartment for 13 years. That is a long time. And he reminisces about the thousands of girls he's brought into the apartment. He's like, I need to make a museum out of this apartment. And he's saying, well, after everything I'm giving up, I hope she appreciates me and this is not a mistake. So yeah, Shekinah's reading real cold to me, and I do see how Sarper's like, hey, it's the way she grew up, and that's probably where she's coming from, which may be true, but I kind of think it's endearing that he's so close to his family and so connected. I think she's just upset that she's pulling him away from his family and that she's not number one. She wants to feel like she's number one, and she probably doesn't want to feel guilty that he's leaving his family, and he's kind of the only person that, since he's the only child, supposedly looks out for his parents, even though the cousin slash sister is there. So I think out of her guilt, she's kind of putting things on me. She's kind of not putting things on me. She's putting things on him, making it negative that he's so close to his family when it's not negative. She's kind of turning the tables to me, because I felt like, for those that follow Sarper and Shekinah in other versions of this 90-day fiance universe, he's definitely done some shameful things to her. But I feel like she's turning the table. She's being very controlling to me. She's being a little bit rude and kind of selfish. And he's had his time doing that. But, now he's in a scenario where, hey, he's got the K1 visa. He has to go forward with this process. And the days that they're departing, she kind of just brings up, hey, basically you're going to have to get along with my daughter because you made a bad impression when my sister came up here. He said some negative things. I think he called her a slut. He may have called her the B word too. I think he referenced that word. So due to that, the daughter already has a bad impression. So she's like, you're going to have to make a good impression on my daughter, because if you don't, we're just basically not going to get married. He's like, well, thanks for telling me after I've applied for this K1 visa and done all this. Now you throw this in my face. I mean, yeah, it is a kind of a last minute thing to bring up. Oh, now you finally remember your daughter, that you even have one, right? But going back a bit when he was talking about how, what if he was trying to make her understand how he's feeling about leaving his parents. And he's like, what if your daughter went to another country and you wouldn't be able to see her on a regular basis? And she's like, well, I raised my daughter to be very independent. So it's like, yeah, because your daughter's not even with you regularly. What does she see her every so many weeks on the weekend or something like that? She keeps her the fifth week. So I see the distance, I see the coldness, I see what she may put in the forefront of her life, and it's her relationships, probably her relationship with Sarper. Not sure if her relationship with her daughter is probably one of the top relationships, but I don't feel like it's first. Now she can come after me if she wants to, not physically, but I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think that she has a strong mothering instinct and vibe? Because I think not. And she was confronted at one of the tell-alls about it as well. So this is not a new thought. But she's kind of further displaying that it's possible that her daughter's not really the top person on her list. I think she's honestly the top person on her list. And we might put Sarper at number 2. All right, so now that he knows his situation is that now something else is on the line. You know, they always have to add another extra issue and layer to this couple. I'm sure that they're probably doing it to try to stay relevant as well. But he's like, well, if she doesn't like me, then I'll come back. She's like, well, you're not supposed to say you're going to come back. You're supposed to say she's going to like me and it's going to work out. Well, look, you set it up that way, ma'am. You set up that scenario. So what do you expect him to say? And he does have the option to come back, just so you know. And to me, the way things are going at this point, I kind of wouldn't blame him for coming back because I'm not really feeling Shekinah's new attitude. First, she was too submissive. Now she's being a little bit overboard and a little bit controlling, self-centered, insensitive, all those things. So the parents see them off and they have multiple bags. And I was like trying to figure out how did they get all those bags in that little car? Plus Shekinah and Sarp are in there too. And both his parents. So I don't know if they have like a clown trunk in the back or what, but whatever's going on with that vehicle, it's an excellent space-saving vehicle. Anyway, the parents are just so sweet and cute, and they hug everyone. They hug Sarper and Shekinah, even though Shekinah's kind of betraying them. They just want what's best for him. They love him, and I understand why he want to be there for his parents. They're very kind, loving. And it's funny how they both have the letter S as their first names, as well as Shekinah and Sarper. Like, it's like a matchy-matchy thing. I think he may have seen that as a sign or felt that may be a sign that they should be together too. But I don't like Shekinah's behavior at this moment. So this is all, guys. I mean, to me, things are improving. We're going to have more couples coming in. And I like the fact that they are not inundating me with all the couples at once. What do we have? Like 4 or 5 couples to talk about at a time. Good, because I'm glad they're rotating them in and out because I can't keep up with all the multi-couples. So the editing and how these couples are coming through, it works better for me. But things are warming up. I'm excited to see Sharper and Shekinah are they're kind of, you expect certain things from them, but they're doing a little bit unexpected with Shekinah's behavior. But I'm more excited to think about Greg and Joan in this living situation with mom. When it comes to Amani and Matt, I'm not sure what this throuple thing is. I'm not really sure how excited I am to see, but I'm just curious, what is this going to turn out to be? It's a little outside of my mindset. And Nina and Mark, I'm excited about that too, and how the daughter's going to get in the middle of it, and how's he going to make them feel warm and welcomed in the country when they keep just going to the gas station for all their needs. How is he going to step up his game? Is she gold digging? All of that stuff I want to know. With Stevie and Maddie, I'm not really sure what's up with Maddie, and hopefully that will be revealed. But he just seems like a very one note. Like, even though he's excited about being in the U.S., his face expression never changes. He always looks a little dry, and maybe he misses his family. Maybe some more expression will come later. But he's giving me vampire here. I mean, he looks a little flushed. I don't know. It could be just separation anxiety from his family. Maybe this isn't who he fully is. But I see the connection between him and Stevie. I see like similarities between them. I see why they vibe. But yeah, my top couples right now are Greg and Joan and Mina and Mark. Those are the two that I'm really looking at, and I feel like it's kind of heating up a little bit more and getting a little bit more interesting with them. The throuple, I feel like that is just shock value at this time, and even though it may end up being interesting TV, it's played for the shock value. More couples are going to be rotating through, so I'm a little bit more excited as time goes. Let's see what the next episode brings. Thoughts, comments, questions, you guys can always email me at cbiztv@yahoo.com. That's cbiztv@yahoo.com. Let's talk again, guys. Faith, love, and trends. This is Irene. All the best. God bless.